I'm a comedian now, I'm supposed to be. He used to call me Mr. Flemington. And he said, "Hot you've got a breath that's equivalent to a dragon's, to a Komodo dragon, you know?" And he'd say, "Yeah, thank you, Cozy Boy, for that one." Yeah, so anyway, you know the Indians, they were the best recyclers because they never created any waste. What was your opinion on that?
I don't know. I've never been to India, but
no, Indians, the American Indians.
Oh, I see. Yeah, again, I couldn't tell you who's the best, but what I would say is that natural systems create no waste, and if we live in harmony with our planet and with our environment, that's inevitably the way that we're going to go. The thing is, in a way, like the way people used to live traditionally, all of our materials were basically low impact, and we had low population. So, it kind of didn't matter so much. You throw something over there, it's going to break down and go back to the soil anyway. The problem is that now we're living in a world where we have a whole load of materials which are no longer biodegradable. And we mix them up in ways that we've never done before. We package things in extraordinary ways, and with such a huge population, that every little effect now has, cumulatively has such a major impact. So I think we have to learn from indigenous systems and traditional human systems of living, but we also have to adapt it because the conditions that we live in today are so different because we're such a big population.
Yeah, the reason why I think there's so much waste is because of oil. Now, a lot of plastics is made out of oil these days, isn't it? Yeah. But what would happen if a lot of products would be made out of, let's say, for instance, flax? Right?
Neil Abel, Chair of the Works and Services Committee. I'm a councillor in the Eden Albert ward. Is that close enough? Yeah.
So aren't you just really buying into the multinational corporations having control of the waste stream? By not having CDL, aren't the multinational corporations putting all the costs back onto the council and therefore the ratepayers?
You're quite right. At the moment, in terms of the collection and recycling, that is the case at the moment. What's got to be understood is that the councils have contracted all the waste streams to private enterprise. That's the landfills, that's the picking up and reprocessing of the waste. I personally believe that we need to regain some control of those waste streams. And the strategy that Auckland's developed is encompassing that sort of move or that direction, where the council once again has some say and control over how the waste streams are processed and socially and environmentally where they end up. And at the moment we don't.
Because if you just put a charge on the current system, you just increase the charges. Isn't that just going to unfairly hurt lower income people? Like, rich people can always pollute, but the cost always goes on to people who can't afford it.
Well, this is a wide-reaching statement here, and it actually goes back to producer responsibility and getting back to the source. Where did this problem start? And certainly in terms of glass packaging, in terms of plastic packaging, in terms of paper packaging, which are the three key areas, if at manufacture these issues can be addressed by using materials other than unnecessary, that's where it has to start. And that's the whole philosophy of zero waste.
So at the moment we have like ads on TV for like Glad Wrap where they say better living everybody, and better living seems to be encasing everything in plastic. How do you combat that sort of mentality? I mean, do you ban advertising like that?
Well, clearly you can't.
How do you change the current the mindset with the multinational corporations?
Yeah, ultimately change occurs from a majority of people simply rejecting these sorts of approaches. Simply saying plastic bags is a good example. If everyone that arrived in the supermarket, that's you and I, was to say no, we won't accept the plastic bag, that's where it starts. If there's a groundswell, that's where change will occur.
But doesn't the council comply with multinationals' wishes, basically, with the current system of recycling? Because currently, multinational corporations don't want CDL, which is deposits on bottles, right? So the council's just going along with that?
No, the council is presenting on Thursday and Friday of this week support of CDL.
Excellent.
You've got an organisation, Fonterra, a big company. Why don't you say to them anything that comes in North Shore City for 5 cents? And they've got to refund the 5 cents. Not specifically that amount, but look at it as a way that you can offset any costings. Just think slightly different on it. Think, for example, any type of product that comes in and is sold through the supermarkets, stores, etc., etc. That you actually put some levy on it.
Well, one of the things we are doing, I'll give you an example. I sit on the Watermatta Harbour Cleanup Trust with the other mayors around the region and the chair of the ARC, and they have just picked up the millionth litre of plastic in the last 3 years from just going around the beaches, the marinas and the estuaries and all that stuff. 1 million litres of plastic. And at the meeting last week, we discussed it, and I suggested, when we had the figures, and 20% of the plastic that the boat, there's a little boat called the Phil Warren that goes all around the harbour to pick it all up. They did a survey. 20% of the plastic was Coca-Cola bottles and Coca-Cola products. And the next highest was Anchor, and the next highest, and they listed them all. So I suggested that we actually write to all those companies and suggest that they might like to help assist, contribute, because if 20% of 1 million litres of plastic is Coca-Cola, I think they do have a responsibility to perhaps be assisting with some of the cleanup.
But if you had a 5 cent or a 10 cent tag or something, you've got little section cleaners and the kids at the beaches and they'll pick all that stuff up.
Now for the company, or you with the Green MP and all that, and the Green Party, is it really hard making a simple bill, for instance, on putting a markup on products that are on plastic that is not recyclable, and another product that is? Is it really pretty simple to make a bill? Like, it's okay.
Well, bills are, to make a members bill, it takes a lot of work because everything's got to be precise and absolutely right, because even just one wrong word in a bill can really fuck stuff up. So you've got to have the research right. You've got to talk to all the people involved to make sure that it's going to work in the way that you intend it to work. And the other thing, of course, is that private members' bills, the way they get introduced to Parliament is totally random. So like every second Wednesday is a members' day. That's when we deal with members' bills. And basically every time there's a gap on the agenda, all of the bills go into a hat, one gets pulled out at random, that's the one, And so if you've got 120 MPs and most of them have got something in the ballot, the chances of getting your bill drawn are pretty slim. So even if you do all the work and get a really good bill, actually getting it in front of Parliament is a difficult thing. But what I think we do have a chance to see is the Green Party, Māori Party working together and calling the shots and deciding who's going to be the government. And if we get that, then the whole thing changes, because suddenly, sustainability and carbon neutrality and all those great words that the Prime Minister keeps saying are no longer going to be just words. We're actually going to do something about it.
Well, no.